Before we get into today's videos, I just want to show my respect and my condolences to Chris, King Com's family and loved ones. We've lost one of the dropshipping pioneers not long ago, and it's very sad to see him go at such a young age. He's the same age as me, 21 years old, and it's just so sad to hear he's gone. At the end of the day, I want us to remember King Com for all the great things he's done, despite some of the things that I haven't agreed with him doing, and a lot of you haven't agreed with what he's done. At the end of the day, let's remember King Com, let's remember Chris for all the great things he's done for us. If it wasn't for him, a lot of us wouldn't be where we are today with our dropshipping businesses, and we wouldn't even know what dropshipping is. So let's show the gentleman a lot of respect whilst he's now in heaven and whatnot. So let's just all show some respect. Let's all remember him for the great things and not for the bad things. And I'm going to leave it there. And like I said, my condolences are with the family, and let's remember the legend for all the great things he's done for us and not the negative things. In today's video, I'm actually going to be revealing my low Facebook ad strategy for 2020. Now, this low Facebook ad strategy is exactly what I used for Christmas in 2019 to absolutely dominate the market, and my other students use this ad strategy too. Now, the reason why we use this ad strategy is because it gives us the opportunity to test loads of different products really fast for cheapest amount of money. That's why it's called a low Facebook ad strategy. And then it gives us the chance to find winning products, because at the end of the day, dropshipping is all about testing loads of different products and testing loads of different creatives. Now, that can get very expensive if you don't do it correctly. So this ad strategy is going to help you guys test loads of different products, loads of different creatives for a low budget of just $30 a day. So guys, if you're interested in learning that, make sure you watch this video till the end, because I'm going to get straight into the content, sharing my screen, building these campaigns with you, and showing you how to kill and scale these things so you can replicate some of the success some of my students have got. So let's get straight into it. But before we carry on, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment, and obviously share this with people that you know that would benefit from it. Now let's get straight into it, and let's show you this $30 a day ad strategy that is completely insane, and it's just so powerful.
It's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
So guys, let me just quickly go over the requirements you're going to need for this to be as effective as it possibly can, because if you don't follow these requirements, this will not work for you, or this will not be profitable for you. So the first thing you're going to need is $250 as a budget. You're going to be spending $30 a day. The next thing you're going to need is you're going to need to find a product that you can sell for between $14.99 and $24.99. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because if you go for a product higher than that, obviously the more expensive a product is, the more expensive it's going to cost you to sell it. So your cost per result will be too high if you find a product over $24.99 for this ad strategy to remain profitable. You might get sales with products priced over, but it will not be profitable. So let me just quickly go over that again. Try and find a product between $14.99 and $24.99. That way you'll remain profitable and your cost per result will be positive instead of negative. The next thing you need is you're going to need 2 videos, because we're going to be doing 2 different campaigns to start with, and you're going to be using one video for one campaign and a different video for a different campaign. The next thing you're going to need is you're going to need 10 headlines, and you're going to be needing 5 headlines per different campaign. The next thing you're going to need is 2 ad copies, one ad copy for one campaign and a different ad copy for the other campaign, sorry. And again, if you're getting a little bit confused, you can rewind the video and start again, but don't worry, I'm literally going to be going into my laptop right now and building these campaigns out with you so you can follow it along and you don't get confused and you can replicate the success. So guys, you can see my ads manager screen now. I'm actually going to leave a little cheat sheet here just to help you with following along whilst you see my computer screen. But that little cheat sheet is going to give you some tips. It's going to actually tell you what to do as well whilst I'm showing you the screen, just to make sure that your experience whilst doing this is down to a T and you get everything done correctly. So like I said, you can crush it with this low Facebook ad strategy. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to hit create a new campaign. You're going to want to call the campaign name CBO, which stands for campaign budget optimization, WC, which stands for website conversion. Call it testing, because that's what you're currently doing, you're testing. And then you're going to want to call it whatever the product name is. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to change the campaign budget to $30 a day. You're going to want to make sure that campaign budget optimization is currently turned on. Then you're going to want to go into the ad set level, and then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to call the ad set name whatever the interest you're going to be using, which you can obviously do a little bit later down the line. Then you're going to want to select purchase as the event. Then you're going to want to set a minimum budget, and you're going to want to set an ad set minimum budget to $3 a day. Now this is showing it at the top of my screen, but this might actually show you down below, so don't worry if you're following along and you see this and you're thinking, okay, it's not showing this on my screen yet. It's because this is probably going to be at the bottom of the ad set level. So just make sure that when you do get to that part, you change the ad set spending limit to $3 a day, and that will be located within the budget and schedule section of the ad set. Then you're going to want to scroll down and change the locations to the e-packet countries. Now what the best thing you can do is you can Google e-packet countries, you can go to the article at the top and you can copy all of those countries, and then you can go to where it says add locations in bulk, and then you can just paste them in here, and then you can click match locations, and then it will give you all of them as shown on the screen today. Then you're going to want to change the age to 21 to 65, and then you're going to want to change the gender to all. Now obviously if you're doing a beauty and cosmetic product, then you're going to want to change it to, for example, women. If you're just doing a masculine male product, you're just going to change it to male. But because I'm doing a generic product which is aimed at mothers and fathers, I'm going to change the gender to both. And then where it says detailed targeting, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to actually change this to whatever interest is related to you. So for example, I've put this one in here because it's related to what I'm actually doing as a product. I'm actually going to give you another example just so you completely understand what I'm doing here. So for example, my product is targeted at mothers and fathers, so I might delete this and I might actually type in, for example, mother, see what comes up. And at the moment, motherhood's coming up, mother care's coming up. I like the sound of mother care, so I'm going to use that as a target. Now I've actually purposely put this on the screen so you know not to do it. Now you don't want to be narrowed down by engaged shoppers. Now the reason why you don't want to narrow down by engaged shoppers, so I'm going to delete this now just to show you that I don't want to be doing it, is because engaged shoppers is way too expensive. We're on a low budget, so if we're using things like engaged shoppers, it's just going to eat our budget alive. It's going to make our cost per result too high, so just don't use engaged shoppers, get rid of it. We do want to narrow down by dropshipping though, that way other dropshippers can't copy what we're doing and they're not going to see our ad. Then that way your potential reach should be between 5 million and 50 million. So you can see here it's between 40 million at the moment, so we're perfectly fine. We're in the green section. Then we're going to want to scroll down and change the languages to English all, which will show English UK and English US. Then you're going to want to hit edit placements, and you're going to want to change it to these three things: Facebook new feeds, Facebook video feeds, and Instagram feed. Now the reason why you're only doing those three interests is because at the end of the day, if you target everything, Facebook will spend that money way too fast and it will just eat everything alive, because if you're targeting loads of different placements, it will cost just too much money. The second reason why we're not doing all those placements is because at the end of the day, we know for a fact those three placements that I've just suggested are the best ones in terms of success rate, in terms of getting purchases and getting add to cart. So they're the reasons why we're just doing those three placements. We're on a low budget, we can't afford to do everything. And the next part is just make sure that the conversion window is 7 days after clicking or 1 day after viewing. Just make sure it's set as standard, don't change it, keep it as it's shown on the screen. You don't need to mess with the conversion window at this current point. So the next stage is to go into the ad level, and you can see I'm in the ad level, and you're going to want to call the ad name Creative 1. Now the reason why you're calling it Creative 1 is because you're using 5 different creatives per campaign to see what works the best, and then you can narrow it down to what's working the best and scale that ad set and that ad, and I'll be showing you all this a little bit later down the line. So I've called it Creative 1, I've scrolled down, and what I've done is I've uploaded the video, and you can see I've uploaded it here. Then what you're going to want to do is once you've uploaded the video, you can click edit video, and then you can go to where it says thumbnail here, and you can upload your thumbnail by clicking the upload button. So just make sure that you upload the thumbnail too, because at the end of the day, thumbnails are important. Then you're going to want to scroll down and add the first ad copy. So you can see I've added the first ad copy here. Then you want to add the first ad headline here, which I've done. And then you want to add your product URL for the product page, which you can see I've done there also as well. And you're going to want to change the call to action to shop now, because at the end of the day, you want people to know that they're going to be shopping straight away. And then you're going to want to make sure that your pixel is set up. And then once you've done that, you can hit the publish button there. And then we're going to go into the ad set level, and I'm going to show you what to do from there. So guys, you should see that I'm currently in the ad set level of my campaign. You can see here, this is how your screen should look. Now don't worry guys, you shouldn't see loads of all these other different ad sets. Ignore the other ad sets, just focus on the top one here where my cursor is, because at the end of the day, just pretend that there's only one ad set here, because that's where you should currently be. You should only have one ad set and one ad. Now you can see this one ad set here, which is what you guys should be having too. You want to hit the duplicate button, and you want to change the number of copies to 4, and then you're going to want to hit duplicate. free. So guys, your screen should look like mine right now. Obviously, you shouldn't have this many ad sets. You should only have the amount of ad sets that are in blue. So you can see the ones in blue here. So I've only got currently 5 ad sets in total highlighted. Now, at the moment, again, you should have the original ad set and then 4 duplicates. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to edit each ad set. So I'm going to go into the second ad set, and I've already done this just to save a bit of time, but I've changed. The only thing you're changing per ad set, guys, please take note of this. The only thing you're changing per ad set is just the interest. So you can see I've changed it to Toys R Us as well. Now, the reason why we're doing that is because we want to target different interests per ad set. So let me just repeat that. You should now have 5 different ad sets with 5 different interests per ad set. Then what you're going to want to do is per ad set there should be a different ad, and let me just quickly show you that right now. So you guys can see I'm now in the ad level, and the only thing you're changing in the ad level per ad set is going to be the thumbnail and the ad headline. So let me just quickly show you. You can see that this one's now called Creative 2 because, again, this is the second creative on the second ad set. So we should have 5 different ad sets with 5 different creatives. Now, this is the second creative for the second ad set, and you can see I've called it Creative 2. And if we scroll down, you can see I've used a different thumbnail and a different headline. And that's all you're doing in each ad. So if I show you a different ad, which is Creative 3, you can see I've called it Creative 3 because this creative is for ad set number 3, and you can see again the only thing I've changed is the thumbnail, and the only other thing I've changed is the headline. So that's all you should have for now, guys. You should have 5 ad sets with 5 different ads, and the only thing you're changing per ad level is the headline and the thumbnail, and the only thing you're changing in the ad set is the interest. Whoa, wait there a second. If you're fed up of seeing dropshipping courses or paying for dropshipping courses, then you don't have to anymore in 2020. This YouTube channel releases 2 videos a week or 1 video a week, which is course-worthy content and above course-worthy content. So make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you turn post notifications on, and you either like the video today or you leave a comment for a video recommendation, because at the end of the day, dropshipping courses are just not worth it anymore, and this YouTube channel is here to replace those awful courses. Now let's get straight back into the video. So guys, you're going to want to leave that campaign that you've just published to launch for 24 hours, and then I'll give you the killing and scaling strategy behind it. But before I show you that, let me just talk to you a little bit about the reasoning behind what we've just done, because if you don't understand the reasoning behind it, you won't understand what we're trying to do. So the first thing we're trying to do is we're trying to work out what interest and what audiences are working best for our product. Number 2, we're trying to work out what video and what creative is working the best, because remember, we made 5 different creatives. So after 3 days or after a few days, we will know exactly which one's worth pursuing and which one's worth scaling. And then the last thing we're trying to do is we're trying to work out if this product's even worth testing in the first place. And after 3 days, if it isn't, we can kill it and move on to a next product. Now, you want to follow the guidelines after 24 hours, which I'll be talking about right now. So guys, the reason why we're killing very aggressively, and the reason why I call it aggressive, is because it's a 24-hour rule. Most people don't follow 24-hour rules. They normally follow a 48-hour rule and a 72-hour rule. Now, the reason why we're doing a 24-hour rule is because we're doing aggressive killing and scaling, because we're on a low budget. So we have to try and maximize what we've currently got. So the 24-hour rule is if our cost per click is higher than $1.50, we want to kill it. And I'll show you a preview on the screen of exactly how that looks and how that works. So guys, you can see my ads manager again, and you can see the 5 ad sets that are running. You can see the cost per click here is over $1.50, so I'm going to kill that and turn it off. You can see this one's under. We're going to keep that alive. We're going to keep this one alive. We're going to keep this one alive, and we're going to keep this one alive. The one at the top is going to be killed because it goes over our 24-hour rule, which is $1.50. So guys, the 48-hour rule is each ad set should have at least 1 add to cart. Now let me just quickly show you how that looks also in the ads manager. So guys, you can see on my screen, I'm in the ads manager again. You can see out of these 4 ad sets that I ran, this one got 3 add to carts and this one got 10 add to carts. So the other 3 at the top here are going to be turned off. But remember, the top one didn't get the cost per click at $1.50, so that one was already turned off. So these 2 didn't meet the second criteria, which was the 48-hour rule, which is 1 add to cart after 48 hours. So these 2 will now be turned off, and the bottom 3 will remain to carry on to the 72-hour rule. Guys, the 72-hour rule is the 1 sale per ad set. So after 3 days, you should have a sale per ad set. Now let me just quickly show you how that looks in the ads manager as well. So guys, you can see my screen, and again, you can see this ad set here got 4 sales. So that one is the only one alive. So the others are going to all be turned off. So out of 5 ad sets, only 1 survived. And you're going to see a similar thing with your campaigns. You're going to either get 2 ad sets that stay alive or 1. It's normally out of 5 ad sets, there's normally 1 or 2 that will stay alive throughout that 72-hour process. Now let's move on to phase 2. Before we move on to phase 2, let's talk about the objectives and the reasons why we're going to be doing phase 2. So phase 2 is all about getting consistent sales, which is 1 to 3 sales a day. We're going to be testing similar interest to the ones that were winning. So that interest that got those 4 sales, we're going to test similar interest to that to see if anything around that interest is going to be worth scaling as well. Then the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to also be using the actual ad creative, the actual creative that was with that winning ad set, and we're only going to be using that ad now for our future ad sets because we know for a fact that that is the winning creative. So for example, if sportswear got a sale, we're going to be using that interest, and then we're going to hit the suggestion button, and we're going to try and find similar interests around that interest because we know that's the winning interest. Now, for example, if creative 2 is the one that got the sales, we're going to be using that creative from now on throughout our whole campaign. So guys, you can see my screen again, and you can see this ad set is the one that's the winning ad set. So what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to click edit on it. And what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to scroll down to where it says detailed targeting, and you can see here, this is the one that got the 4 sales. So I'm going to want to hit suggestions, and anything related to toys is because remember, this is the winning ad set. This is the one, this interest here is the one that got us our 4 sales. So we're going to want to make sure that anything related to this interest in the suggestion box is something that we can use for our new campaign. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to jot down 5 different interests related to your winning interest. So just so I might jot down on a notepad children's clothing, educational toy, gift, child development, and parenting. I might put those on a notepad so I know when I make the next campaign that is the winning interest related to that actual interest. So they're what we call suggestions based on winning interests. So like I said guys, that's exactly what you're going to want to do, and I'm just going to show you the next stage. So guys, let's move on to phase 2 and actually building out the campaign for phase 2. So before we carry on, you should now have at least 5 new interests based on the winning interest that I mentioned before. Now the next thing you're going to want to make sure is the losing ad set should be turned off from phase 1. So from phase 1, all the losing ad sets that didn't get at least 1 sale after 72 hours should be turned off. So for example, in my case, I only have 1 ad set alive that's actually working. The next thing is you're going to want to duplicate the winning ad set 4 times, and you're just going to want to replace each ad set by a new winning interest. So let me just quickly go in the ads manager and show you this, guys. So guys, you can see I'm in the ads manager and I've got the winning ad set selected here, and what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to hit duplicate, and I'm going to want to change the number of copies to 4, and I'm going to want to make sure that the existing reactions are being ticked and shown, and then I'm going to want to hit the duplicate button, and then all I am changing, guys, now listen, the only thing I'm changing per ad set is the interest, and remember, you're going to want to change the interest to whatever is related to the winning interest. So just hit the suggestion button and select anything from there, but you should have on a notepad those other interests, those other related winning interests, and just change them for that. You're not changing anything to do with the ads, so the ads are going to stay the complete same. The only thing you're changing is the interest within the ad set. The ad's not being changed because remember, we found our winning ad, which is the one that's got the sales. So guys, another rule that you need to apply and you need to follow is if you've got 5 ad sets, you're going to want to change the minimum budget to $4, and you're going to want to change the campaign budget to $35. And then if you've got now 10 ad sets, you're going to want to change the minimum ad set spend to $5, and you're going to want to change the campaign budget to $50. Now the reason why we do this is because, let's say, remember in my case scenario, I had 1 ad set that won, so I've duplicated that 4 times, so I've now got 5 ad sets. But let's say, for example, in your case you had 2 ad sets that did well, you're going to duplicate each of those winning ad sets 4 times, so in total you should have in total now 10 ad sets. So if you had 2 winning ad sets from phase 1, you should now have 10 ad sets because you've duplicated each one 4 times, which will equivalent to 10. And then that means you're going to want to change it to whatever was said on there. But in my case, I'm going to give you my example. So if you've got now 5 ad sets running, you do need to make a small change to another little thing, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do this as well. So if you've got 5 ad sets running, now the only time you should have 5 ad sets running is if you've got one winning ad set from phase 1. So in my case, I only had 1 ad set running that did well and it got sales. So I duplicated that 4 times, which equals 5 ad sets now. If that is the case and you've done the exact same as me, you're going to want to change the campaign budget to $35, and you're going to want to change the minimum ad set spend to $4, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. Now, if you've had 2 winning ad sets from phase 1, so if to do that, you should have 2 ad sets from phase 1 that had 1 sale each. That means you're going to duplicate each winning ad set 4 times, which will equivalent to 10 ad sets altogether. If that is you, you're going to want to change the campaign level budget to $50, and you're going to want to change the minimum ad set spend to $5. So let me just quickly show you how to do that in my case if you had 1 winning ad set, which you duplicated 4 times, which equals 5 ad sets. So guys, you can see my ads manager, and again, let me just quickly show you how to do this small adjustment. So you can see now in the ad set minimum spend, I've changed it to $4, and you can also see in the campaign level, I've changed the campaign budget to $35. So let me just repeat exactly what we've just done. So again, if you've been able to move on to the next phase, which is phase 2, you're duplicating your winning ad set. So if you have 2 winning ad sets, you duplicate each winning ad set 4 times, so in total you should have 10 ad sets. If you only had 1 like me, you duplicate it 4 times and you should have 5 ad sets in total. And the only thing you're changing per ad set is the interest, and you're hitting the suggestions and you're picking anything related to that winning interest. That way you know you got a high chance of those interests doing well as well. Now the next thing you're doing is you're not changing the ad, you're only using your winning ad. So if your winning ad was with creative 3, that is the only creative you should be using now. And then the next thing you're doing is you're changing the campaign budget and the campaign ad set minimum spend based on those rules that I've just mentioned. And if you don't remember, rewind back and follow the video from now on. Now let's move on to phase 2 and phase 3. So guys, let's just quickly cover phase 2, killing and scaling. So now after 24 hours, this is the new rule. So after 24 hours, if you've not got at least a cost per click lower than $1, then turn the ad set off. So remember, if the cost per click is now higher than $1, turn it off. The 48-hour rule is if you don't have at least 1 add to cart or initiate checkout, kill the ad set. The 72-hour rule is 1 sale. So guys, if you don't have any of those, you need to turn them off, and you just need to follow against these rules. Please make sure you follow this carefully, because if you don't, this strategy will not work. Now, if you have at least 2 sales for the whole campaign, you can move forward to phase 3. So if you've got 2 sales from phase 2, which is your duplicated ad sets from your winning ones, then you can move now on to phase 3. If you do not have this, then you need to make sure that you reset the whole process from phase 1. So guys, make sure you follow that guideline, because if you don't, this won't work well. So let me just quickly repeat that. If you have at least 2 sales from this phase, you can move on to the next phase. If you don't have at least 2 sales, then just make sure that you go from phase 1 and repeat the process. Let's talk about what the objectives are for phase 3. So the objectives for phase 3 is collecting more positive data for our target audience, and the next thing is so we can build a profitable lookalike audience. So phase 3 is all about getting all that nice juicy data so we can create some lookalike audiences, and we can smash it with that and get profitable and make a lot of money. So guys, let's go over phase 3 and how to set up the campaign for phase 3, which is our scaling phase. Now, duplicate the winning ad set twice into a new CBO campaign. So if you're at this stage, you should have at least 2 winning ad sets. So you're going to duplicate each winning ad set twice. So in total, you should have a minimum of 4 ad sets. So if you have 4 ad sets, make the campaign budget $50 with a minimum ad spend of $5. If you have 6 ad sets, make the campaign budget $60 with an ad set minimum spend of $5. If you have 8 ad sets, make the campaign budget $70 with an ad set minimum spend of $6. So for example, if mother care, baby care have a sale in phase 2, I would duplicate each ad set twice, not changing anything but the ad set campaign spend and the minimum ad set spend. So that's exactly what we're doing in phase 3. The ad set is the same setup, but the only thing you're doing is you're just using the winning ad from phase 1. So if you have 2 winning ads, pick the one with the best CTR and link clicks. So from phase 2, if you have 2 winning like ads, then the best way to obviously differentiate the one is by looking at the CTR and the link clicks, and then you can pick which ad was the winning ad, guys. Now that is only applicable for those that had 2 creatives in phase 2. So if you got to phase 2 and you had 2 winning ads, then at phase 3 you want to pick the winning one by checking the link clicks and the link clicks and the CTR. So make sure that you follow this, guys. It might get a little bit confusing. Just rewind the video a little bit and follow along. It will make sense eventually. And if you really are struggling, just book a consultation call so I can help you through the process. So guys, we're going to let that campaign run for 24 hours up to 72 hours. Now the rules for killing and scaling with the new campaigns are: we are going to kill aggressively like usual because we're on a low budget, guys. Now the 24-hour rule is if the cost per result is higher than $20, then kill an ad set. So if the cost per result for an add to cart or a purchase is higher than $20, turn the ad set off. The next thing is the 48-hour rule. So if the amount spent is higher than $20 per ad set, kill the ad set. If you have at least 1 sale for the whole campaign, you can move forward to phase. If you have 0 sales or unprofitable sales, reset the whole process to phase 2 and start again. Before I move on though, I'm just going to show you each of those killing and scaling rules in the ads manager so it all makes sense, so you don't get confused either before I move on. So guys, you can see my ads manager, and the first rule was the 24-hour rule, and the 24-hour rules is if the cost per purchase or result is higher than $20, we're going to turn it off. So you can see here, this one's $25, so I would turn that off. Then the second rule is if the amount spent is higher than $20, we're going to turn it off. So let me just quickly show you that too. So guys, you can see the amount spent is $15, so I'm not going to turn it off, because at the end of the day, if the amount spent was over 20, I would turn it off. But in this case, it's only $15, so I'm going to keep this one running. Then the next rules is as long as you had 1 sale, then you can move forward to phase 4. And if you don't have any sales or unprofitable sales, you can go back to phase 2 and repeat the process from phase 2. Now let's move on to the next stage. So guys, phase 4 is all about scaling with increasing campaign budgets. So increase the daily budget on your campaign by 30 to 50% every 3 days if the campaign remains profitable. So if your break-even ROAS is, for example, 2.1, and for the last 3 days your campaign ROAS is 2.3, you're going to want to increase your campaign budget by either 30 to 50%. Now, I definitely recommend picking a percentage based on how profitable you are. I'm not going to tell you exactly because it really depends on so many different variables, but I like to stick between the 30 and 50% rule, because that way you're not going to overdo it and throttle the ad set or campaign level. So let me just repeat that again. Increase the daily budget by 30 to 50% every 3 days as long as the campaign remains profitable by the ROAS level. So let's say, for example, my ROAS is 2.1. If the ROAS for the last 3 days was 2.3, I would increase my campaign budget, and you're going to want to do that every 3 days. If the campaign either breaks even or is unprofitable, drop the budget back down by 30 to 50%. Now you're going to keep dropping it down till you get to a base of 30. So if you drop it down, you can't drop the campaign down any lower than 30. So if you keep dropping it down and you've hit 30 and it still remains unprofitable, that's it. That's a day called. You're going to want to turn it off completely. There's no point running it anymore, because the minimum you can spend on a CBO is 30 a day. So if you can't get anything at $30 a day, that's it. Goodbye. You're going to have to move on to a new campaign with some new interests and ad sets. Now let's move on to when to move to lookalike audience scaling. So the first thing is you need to spend at least between $350 to $500, and you need to have the following, or you should have the following: 2,000 video views at 75% or 95%, or you should have at least 1,000 view content. So if you have those 3 different things, you can move on to lookalike audiences, or you should have spent at least around about $300 to $500. But to even spend $300 to $500, you should have at least those other metrics, which is 2,000 video views at either 75% or 95%, or you should have at least 1,000 view contents. If you don't have those, do not go on to lookalike audiences. It just won't work, it won't populate, or it won't spend and make money. So guys, that is the lookalike audience metrics and what you need to actually get on to doing the lookalike scaling for this actual process. Now let's talk about phase 5, which is the scaling with lookalike audiences. Now I'm not going to cover scaling with lookalike audiences today because that'll take me too long, so go and watch the video on the screen if you want to learn how to scale with lookalike audiences. I'll go into depth on how to scale lookalike audiences on that video. Now let's finish the video off about managing cash flow. Now this is very, very important because a lot of people scale beyond their needs, because at the end of the day, if you can't afford to scale, don't do it. And a lot of people think they should scale even though they can't afford it, because they're thinking, oh my god, I've got the chance to scale, I've got the chance to make even more money. But if you can't financially back it up, trust me, you're not going to make more money. You're actually going to ruin all your payment gateways, you're going to ruin your trust with Facebook, and you're actually going to make yourself lose a lot of money. So let's talk a little bit about what to do when you can actually afford it. So remember, your payment gateways will take between 3 to 21 days to actually pay out. Now Stripe pay out at 3 days now, so if Stripe actually updated their actual software, so it'll actually pay out for you every 3 days. Now that depends on the country, but in the UK and the US at the moment they're paying out at 3 days. Your country might also do that as well. Just check on Stripe to see if that is. Now with PayPal, I get paid out straight away with PayPal, but sometimes some people it'll take 21 days. Now why the reason why I'm telling you that is because if you're trying to scale and your payment gateways haven't paid you yet, you've got no money to scale with, guys. So do bear that in mind. You might not be able to scale based on how often your payment gateways pay you. Next thing is, I would recommend getting a business credit card. Now the reason why I would recommend doing that is because if you're waiting for your payment gateway to pay you, it means you might not be able to afford fulfilling orders, and if you don't fulfill orders, you're going to get a lot of chargebacks and a lot of returns, which is not good for your business. Also, you might not be able to scale your Facebook ads or pay for your Facebook ads, so it's always good to have a business credit card just in case you're waiting for that money to hit your bank. Now I'd recommend watching the video on the screen to help you with finding the best business credit card for your dropshipping business. This video I made is very, very good because I actually show you the best credit cards for all the different credit rates and the different countries. So guys, that is it for today's video. If you enjoyed the low Facebook ad strategy, make sure you like the video and you leave a comment, and I'll see you guys on the next video.